Hello, welcome back. Today we can talk about the European Union and the USA blackmailing Africa to support them in the war against Ukraine. Well, it doesn't benefit Africa to go with the US and the European Union and go against Russia, because Africa doesn't really need the European Union or America. They're trying to blackmail them by withholding aid. Well, this is the thing about being independent, being sovereign, because you get to choose who's your friends and who's your enemies. But so far, African Union or the African nations aren't allowed to be sovereign. They're still colonial masters dictating what they can and cannot do, which is awful. These people now are basically trying to twist their arms, the African Union arms, to go against Russia. Why? Russia are not their enemies. The sanctions had destroyed Africa already. As I said in an earlier video, sooner or later, the sanctions on the wheat and the food and the oil and stuff on Russia is going to affect the African Union. All the African nations are suffering losses. They can't, according to the colonial masters, they can't import cheap oil and gas from Russia. That's forbidden. That's banned. They are banned from that. But I don't understand. But they still want Africa to be on their side. If you don't support the war, why you have to support the war or support the European Union and the US? That's what it is. Support us or else. And there's no way to build a relationship. And why Africans can't choose their own foreign policy? Why they can't choose their own, who's their enemies and who's their friends? Why they can't choose? The USA and European Union have to choose for them. It's not good. Look, the cheap oil and fertilizer Russia have available, the European Union doesn't, and the US doesn't want. But I can call them the collective West, because that's what it is. The collective West doesn't want them to have these cheaper fertilizer and gas and oil. And that don't benefit Africa. Africa is poor and struggling. If we don't have financial muscle to go and purchase expensive stuff, the cheaper alternative is the better alternative, because you can't spend beyond your means, and that's what these people want, a debt trap. They can lend you money through the IMF and the World Bank and then take over your resources, just like what China is doing in Africa. Africa Union got to come together and work as a bloc and keep the fucking European Union and the USA out, even the Chinese out of Africa. Just look and see what France is doing with West Africa. They're destabilizing all the West African nations so that they can steal the resources or continue to steal them for decades to come. They don't want to leave Mali because it benefits them financially. They don't care about Africa. They don't care about the African people. Well, the European Union haven't done themselves any good with the sanctions either, because the European Union, the inflation has killed the European Union as well. All the working class people are suffering here. High gas prices, high electricity bills, food prices. But they don't care. They will never let a bit of common sense prevail, because it's only about their political will. and they want to win, and they can't be seen as soft or changing course. African Union should just get rid of the USA. They don't need friends like that. And the European Union. Look and see what they're doing to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is just trying to stand on their own feet, and the USA and the European Union is destabilizing Ethiopia with war, trying to create factions again in the government and stuff, because they don't want people to be independent. They want people to be dependent. It's not good for Africa. Even though Somalia have a drought, Ethiopia is trying to help them with aid. And that's how it's supposed to work. You help your neighbor out and try to live as one. But the European Union and the collective West and the collective West, they don't want unity in Africa. And now they're trying to blackmail them by aid. If you don't be on our side, you won't get aid. They're blackmailing African nations. Tell them if you don't get on board with us and support the war in Ukraine and these sanctions against, even although the sanctions is going to hurt the African nations, they have to get on board. That don't make sense. That's not common sense. Only an idiot would do things like that. Only if the African nations come together as a bloc. They don't need America. They don't need Canada. They don't need France. They don't need the European Union, because Africa have all the resources. They just have to trade as one, as a bloc, and get rid of these puppet governments that is selling out the African people to the West. And that's what they're trying to do in Ethiopia, trying to get rid of the government so they can put in their own puppet government. Look and see if the cobalt they're getting from the Congo. You see if the West have to pay for the cobalt that they're taking from the Congo. Even China. The Congo be one of the richest nations on this planet. But there's a puppet government in there just giving the Western the collective West, all the Western big corporations, giving the cobalt away for basically cheap, using the African labor, and they profiting and getting wealthy of the African backs. It's not nice. It's not good. It's been happening for too long. It's been happening for too long. You need to stop it. The US and the European Union have no love for Africa. All they want to do is to use Africa to maximize their wealth and have control over the wealth and resources. That's what they want. It's about time that we get rid of Africa. Of the European Union and the US, the whole collective West. Japan as well, North, South Korea. All of these people vote as one in a bloc on the UN so that they can get what they want. All for them, nothing for Africa. Anyhow, I want this video not to be too long, and I just want to just say, as I told you before, the collective West is very dangerous. They are the danger to the civilization of the world. Russia have never threatened no African nation with sanctions. They are never forcing them, say you are not going, if you won't get aid because if you don't be on board with us. All Russia want to do is trade on a level playing field, and Africa can trade on a level playing field if they are independent. And that's the way forward. I hope the African nations and the corrupt African Union come together and start to build a bloc and have dominance in the world market, because Africa can dominate the world market. All the resources is in Africa. Africa doesn't need the world. The world need Africa. Anyhow, I want to call it a day, and I can hear you again sooner or later. So take care. I want you to like, share, and subscribe, and understand that we gotta come together as a community and work together and stop fighting each other. Anyhow, take care and be good. Bye.